we asked Nigerians to share the stories of their mothers, the sacrifices they made for them, the journey of pain, love, devotion, and struggles made by our mothers to make us who we are today. They shared their stories with us. Thousands of entries, hundreds of interviews, and documentary across the country. 20 unique stories have been selected for us to learn from, appreciate, and celebrate. The sacrifices and devotion are real. Real people, real stories, real experiences. The emotional true life experiences being shared, narrated, and dramatized are simply captivating. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the most touching stories of our mothers. The Supermom reality TV show, Celebrity Edition, starts now.
You're welcome to the most passionate reality show on TV. Today's episode, as always, it's going to be fascinating as we commend yet another two valiant mothers who suffered and struggled to clear a genuine path for their children to pass through. The gift of birthright with which they fostered their children has continued to be a significant motivation for these children to shape their lives. Today, we'll celebrate Mrs. Mary Agu, Julius Agu's mother, and Mrs. Caroline Adewolu, the mother of Olumaintain. As for Mrs. Mary Agu, she always looks back to the past with a longing, lingering heart of nostalgic memories. She always remembers those days when her heart sung dirges of unbearable constraints. But today, it's a different song.
My name is Julius Agu. I come from a place called Choba, very close to Port Harcourt, in Rivers State. I'm actually Ikwere, and I happen to be the fifth in a family of 6 children. Okay, my mother is Mrs. Mary Agu. I mean, it took a lot for her to bring us up. And after my father died in 2002, she was all alone. Her major occupation is farming. I mean, that's what women from that part do. She sells firewood. Till now in Choba, when people say, Mama Julius, Mama, don't you know her? That woman now, where they sell firewood and kai kai. Kai kai is the local gin. I don't know whether you know it. And I know they will call it kai kai. They just call it akpatash. I remember vividly that when we were growing up, those were some of the wares, some of the things that she sold to ensure that she took care of us.
My child, I suffered too much. When we sold things because things were tough, Julius was a little schoolboy. When I delivered Julius, his father was working at Ministry of Works with the government. So I had the baby. I went to church. He was named Chunwikbe. Because of the illness during the pregnancy, it's not man that will judge. It is God who judges. God's judgment was right and helped me deliver.
She did not cease to surprise her neighbors with her strength in maternity when she bore the burden of delivering children all by herself, a pregnant mother bleeding through her nose.
I'm also interested to know that of all my siblings, I was the only one born in a hospital. That's because my mom was a very strong woman. I mean, if you see her now, you would agree with me that she's still strong. The first one was born, according to them, I heard he was born in a farm. One by the roadside, one at home. My mom would deliver herself and continue. I don't born. Okay. Let's go to farm. But they said that, or she told me, and from what I gathered from my father too, and my elder brothers, they said that when she was pregnant with me, I was very, not just problematic, I was problematic. She bled so much that they just advised her that, you know what, I think you need to go to the hospital.
The pregnancy was strange to her as she had never experienced such a horrible pregnancy before. She was between life and death.
This one is painful. You have to take me to the hospital.
Mama, there's no money.
Take me to the hospital.
There's no money, ma.
Take me to the hospital. Call for help. Call for help.
If it wasn't for the strength of God, I would not be able to deliver him. His father wasn't at home. He traveled to Ogoni, where he worked. Sometimes he traveled with builders to build houses. Before he returned, I had baptized Julius. Just like the tradition, you choose who you love to stand as a godfather or mother. I named him Julius, the lion. Chinwikpe, the lion, is an Igbo name I named him. During that period, my suffering began. He'll be gone for 2 weeks and return at the 3rd week. We still managed and survived with the petty business. It's by the strength of God.
She did everything to encourage her children spiritually. By then, Julius was a small lad who just started schooling. He would first in the morning hawk akamu around before he dressed up for school.
After hawking, I'll now get home, wash my legs. At times you wouldn't need to take a bath to go to school. Just wash your legs, wash your hands, and then you rush off. And it became like a style, a pattern. It became a tradition for me that I always went to school late.
He was a perpetual latecomer to school, and with this, he always faced one discipline or the other for coming late to school.
And my punishment then from my teacher was for me to come in front of the class and dance. You know, I started piffling from my father. When I realized that he wasn't ready to take care of me anymore, I said, okay, I think I need to help myself out. Because I mean, whether I like it or not, there was no way my father would tell me he wasn't getting money that could help me out. It just became a challenge. He said, look, I have trained your elder brothers. Let them train you, it's their responsibility. My elder brother said, no, he's your father, so let him train you. So, my father didn't know that I got a key to his room, his inner room. I started sneaking into his room and stealing from him.
Who gave you the key to my room?
Nobody.
Nobody. How can you steal my money?
I'm not one.
You are leaving this house today.
I am going nowhere.
He said I was going to leave his house. And I went like, Papa, I'm not going anywhere. I'm in my father's house. You go to your own father's house. You know, I said it like a young boy. Then it was youthful exuberance, juvenile delinquency. My head was hurting. And I thought I was defending myself.
Go in and pack your loads.
Papa,
Out of my
I am
house.
not going anywhere. This is my father's house.
Hey! Out of my house.
It is you that is going to your father's house.
My mom now started begging. And then that led to another quarrel. A fight, serious fight between my father and my mom. Because my mom stood by me and said, if you had been taking care of this boy, it wouldn't have led to this. And that was the last day. I just said to myself, you know what? This ends here. What I didn't know was that she was marking time for me. And later she came when we were all alone. And I thought she wanted to yes, I was happy, yes, that she stood by me. That was when she grabbed my ear. You know, and started telling me that was a very wrong thing. That no matter what, that we're not born to be thieves, that was stealing. I tried defending myself, but she didn't find it funny. Then she realized that she too had stopped really, that she had actually stopped taking care of me at that point.
It's God who held our hands. He led me, and I was able to help him stop stealing and stop smoking, taking cigarettes, even going to his father's house to steal little amounts of money. It's the grace of God.
Julius the Lion, as Mrs. Mary passionately loved to call her son, was not particularly loved by his father. They were always at disagreement on one issue or the other.
We were brought up in a very poor Christian home. Or rather, when I say very poor, it didn't mean that we couldn't afford our meals. But my dad then, as a hunter, as a mason, as a bricklayer, usually traveled, like to go and work in different villages, in different places, and always kept us with our mom alone. So that was when we actually bonded more with our mother.
A woman with about 4 children, she continued to manage and survive with petty business of selling akamu. That's the local pap.
Don't play, oh. Come back. You people, come. Come and carry this now. Why are you shouting? You're in the farm. Who will hear you? Sell this for 10 naira. Okay. Come back quick, oh.
For us, when we were growing up, tea, rice was luxury. That's aside from Christmas Day and maybe harvest. If I needed to eat rice, I would deceive my mom or fall ill. Once you took ill, then you were entitled to rice, because they will ask you, what would you like to eat? I'll chop your eyes. I'll drink tea. Then, that was the shortest and the best way to take tea. And then every other person wants to rally around you, like my other siblings will now come. Give me a small. Say no, seek your own. Seek your own. You want to seek your own. This is my sickness and my benefit. So, and then you try to prolong the sickness so that the rice can be maintained. So, my dad wanted me to be a lawyer. My mom, on the other hand, wanted me to go and learn carpentry. And this is no joke. Her reason being that anytime she entered her kitchen, she realized that she was always lacking stool, kitchen chair and stuff. And so she said to herself, come on, my son, I think you should go and learn carpentry. I said, Papa, Mama, me, carpentry, in this time and age. The luck I had was the University of Port Harcourt is located in my village. I wouldn't have been a graduate.
There were times at night I would say to God, God, you are great. I never knew the boy I wanted to learn carpentry will improve so fast. I monitored his work at the workshop, checking if the chairs he constructed were good. I say thank you, God. I thank you, God, for each chair he made for me. Thank you, Daddy.
Mrs. Mary's love for her children, especially Julius the Lion, did not dwindle. Rather, she carried on to care for them. Though at times she was tempted to unleash her anger on them, she would quickly recall herself and took to loving for them.
You misplaced your book. You misplaced the book. Buy book for you. Buy book for you. You're telling me you misplaced your book as if it's my fault. Misplace she there. Why didn't you misplace your head? You misplace your book. All this while you just go and you play, you do everything you have to do. You tell me you misplace your. Are you the only boy in school? I'm the one that misplaced your book for you. Maybe you're turning your book for you. Araba, I suffer, I do everything for you. Are you the only child I have in this house? Nonsense. this suffering. Now, where will you find out? Stop following all these boys that smoke in this village. Stop! Stop going to Papa's house to steal money, Julius. Stop! Promise me you stop, Julius. Promise me. I'll give you special.
Mama used to promise me that you stop following Grandpa to snuff.
If me stopping snuff will change you, Julius. Julius, my son, I will stop snuffing, no? I didn't start snuffing today. I will stop. But you promise me, Shay? Yes. Mommy, Daddy.
My mama will send me, let me say, me, go to the neighbors. Let them give us like 2 cups of gari or 3 cups of gari so that we could eat. When we fry our own, I mean, it's a normal thing in the village then. When you fry, you return. You know? It used to be very, very painful. When you finish, sometimes you borrow the gari. You finish to return. When I never see your own fry, then the neighbors will begin to worry. When are you returning the gari? So, I'm sure she also went borrowing. Yeah, she did. What I know that she talks about so much, especially when she wants to make me cry or want to whip up sentiment to get something from me now, is that she tells me how the pain she went through when she was pregnant with me, the pain she went through to be able to clothe me when my father would say that, look, I don't have money for Christmas clothes and all. And then she would have to, travel all the way to Borokiri. They call it Borokiri Market. That's where, downtown Port Harcourt. And, but I remember that so many of us were not particularly, we were always strong. We were not the kind of people that you say, okay, go to hospital, we are sick and all that. Maybe part of our strength was the fact that the hospital money no day. So you did not have a choice than to remain strong.
She continued to shoulder all the responsibilities for her children. Through prayer, Julius was beginning to behave well. He supported his mother and ran errands for her. Mrs. Mary thanked God for answering her prayers.
Mama, so for all these things, everything we don't do for us, all the sacrifices, all the pains where you pass through, those days where you go send me, I go first go sell akamu before I go to school. Run. Everything where you don't do for us. I want to tell you thank you. And all these things might make us what we be today. If to say no be and for food, no be for no day this Lagos now. And for don't day home. Maybe they follow you, they still carry firewood. So I want to say I appreciate you. And I love you. And you go enjoy all your children. Did they hear me? Go enjoy us. Nothing will do you. You will still stay strong.
As you make us know how to trade, make us get shop. Where we say, even when Papa say you don't too much for them, make our elder brother say, join us. They still back us. Help me. That shop stand. Where we say, we can go school. Come, we be graduate today. I say thank you.
My name is Olumentain, Mr. Olumentain. Real name Olumide Edwards Adigbulu. I'm a native of Ondo Town, from Ondo State. My mom, Mrs. Oyekome Caroline Adigbulu.
I got married in July 1978 with 4 children. I got married to Dr. Tayo Adigbulu. I have 4 children, 2 boys and a girl and 2 grandsons.
The philosophy that if a mother does not take care of her children, God will punish her has been Mrs. Cecilia Adigbulu's watchword in life. The mother of the ace singer, Olumentain, is a native of Ondo just like her husband. In 1978, families and friends gathered together to witness the marriage between her and Dr. Tayo Adewolu. The union was blessed with 4 children.
I suffered a lot as a mother. My husband was in the army, so I had to take care of the children for so many years because they transferred them from one place to another. So I decided not to follow him anywhere, just to concentrate on my children.
It was during one of the regular travels of her husband that her first child suddenly took ill. She was devastated as she struggled and prayed not to lose him. She took the child to Lutz.
I had one house girl then, I do go to work. She was careless with his feeding bottle, so maybe flies or anything contaminated the food. So he has gastroenteritis, so we had to take him to Lutz.
She had the grace of meeting Professor Ransom Kuti, who would later become a Minister of Health in Nigeria. Professor Kuti helped her with her child through his kindness.
He was admitted for about 1 month because he was vomiting, gastroenteritis. And that was all. After the whole thing, he was discharged.
Among her children, Olu was a very bright kid who began to walk at his 11th month. And by the time he was having his first year birthday, he gave them a lot of stress to take his picture because he was all over the place.
God has blessed me to that extent. I don't have any problem child. But Olu is stubborn, not to the extent of creating problem for the family. If you have 2, 3, 4 children, one will be different from others. Because Olu was the only one that started walking at the age of 11 months. When he was celebrating his first birthday, he didn't even stay for the photograph. He was just playing football all over the place.
Olu was a stubborn kid who constantly broke her plates.
What is it?
He was also the one who would not eat the local food like amala or eba, as he preferred meal like rice, yam, or other light foods to them.
At times he will break my plates, same thing his brother. At times, if I'm going out, I will lock them up in the room. We were in Lagos then because I don't want them to mix with all these miscreants. So I will lock them in the sitting room, open the television. What is dangerous, maybe knife, matches, so that I will keep everything out from them, all of them. So, and when I come back, anytime I come back, there won't be any problem.
After his secondary education, Olu proceeded to Ibadan Polytechnic, but he had another dream in him.
I was very ambitious at a very young age, and I think part of me being overzealous was not allowing anything get in my way, including my mom. So I did all the things, I did all the unimaginable bad things way back then. I sell my mom's jewelry and everything. I can remember this particular set she had, gold sets. I sold it then. I raised the money. I think I used the money to buy like studio equipment and stuff.
When he was in school, he has this music in his blood, so we don't have anything wrong in that.
I was very fortunate to be, or I am very fortunate to be blessed with very liberal parents. My parents were very liberal and very understanding. So there were not much of disciplinarian, so to say.
It was so rough in the beginning, but unlike some other parents, Olu's parents supported him right from the beginning, even when he came around asking for money for studio session, but she was there for him, financing, along with it, his education.
The money I sent to you, I hope is enough for your studio session. Okay. You are the one that is going out, so you just be prayerful, okay? God be with you, my son.
I support him in his music because he's trying. Although it was rough, when he first started, when he's finished schooling, it was rough for him. The little I have, I will give him. So, but from the day he says he wants to be an artist, I didn't say don't do it, or his father.
She would call him and give him so many advice on how to go about his life and career.
There was a point in time I was traveling from Rome to Philadelphia, and the plane was this close to crashing. And at the time, I just moved in here. So what was going through my mind was like, oh my God, new house, new cars, is this going to be the end and everything? So when I landed in Philadelphia, I called my mom, like, Mommy, the plane I entered almost crashed and everything. And she was just laughing. I'm like, Mommy, what's funny? I told you that the plane almost crashed. Everybody was vomiting on the plane. And she was like, there is no harm that can befall any of his children for as long as she's alive, because she has a covenant with God that she will never shed a tear on any of her children as long as she's alive. So I'm like, oh wow, you know, the way she said it with so much authority and so much certainty that she has a covenant with God. I'm like, oh wow. So my mom to me now is everything to me, because that is like the backbone of everything I rest on spiritually.
I do pray for him, because you are the one going out to, please, so my God, protect him. Don't let anything harm him. Don't let him. So that's prayer.
My mom is one of the greatest assurances I have to success.
No much problem, but all the same, here and there are ups and downs, which is normal to any human being.
She would later leave the civil service and perhaps the city of Lagos with her family and relocate to Ondo State, where life continued. She chose to work as her own boss when she began petty trading.
I worked in Lagos for about 15 years as a civil servant. Later, we decided to move to Ondo. So since we got to Ondo, I started a small, little business. So.
One thing Mrs. Cecilia holds firm to herself is never to abandon her children, no matter the situation. It is this dogma that helps her children, especially in the person of Olu, maintain.
Like I said earlier on, you know, she was just waiting to see what the future would hold. And she's one of the happiest people now today, because obviously she's proud of me. Obviously, everybody in my hometown refers to my mom as Mama Maintain or Daddy Maintain or whatever, you know. So, you know, so I would say, I mean, they look at me now and they're like proud of me, you know, because I've brought glory to our family name, both immediate and extended.
My advice to mothers that neglect their children is a very bad thing, because you are the one that brought them to this world. And if you don't take good care of them, God will never forgive you. There are some men, there are some husbands, though, they will do something, maybe this infidelity, something. Some women will say, because of that, I will leave them. I will leave the children to rot. No, it's not good. Carry on with your children, support them, because they are your pillar of tomorrow. If you neglect your children, as I'm old now, my children are taking they are taking good care of me. So, but if I don't handle my children well, if I leave them on the street to roam about, if I say, because your father has done this, somebody has done this to me, I will leave you, it will come back on my head, because the mother won't enjoy the son, will not enjoy the children, either boy or girl or whatever. So my advice is for we mothers, no matter the provocation, no matter whatever her husband does or whatever anybody, don't abandon your children, because they are your life tomorrow. By the time by the time you are unable to do as you were doing when you were young. So it's not good. It's a crime that God will never. If you pray 1 million times that you neglect your child because of one problem, God will never listen to you.
Mama Olu, Yemi, Mommy, I love you so much. You've been there for me. You're still there for me. And I pray to God that you will continue to be there for me. My mom is natural. My mom is African. My mom is a woman. My mom is totally inspiring, naughty. I love you, Mommy.
best around the globe. You're so special, yeah. I really love you so, yeah. Tell me who could be like a mama, yeah. Oh, tell me who could be like a mama, yeah. I want to buy motor, maybe bicycle. I want to build house for my mama. This is not the coco, I know they play koso. Be my mama, yeah. Mama, yeah, mama. Hiddy body day, hey. Mama, yeah, mama. Hey, I really love you so, yeah. Mama, yeah, mama. Zagaze, ziggy zagaze.